What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Nash here. Welcome back to the channel. Now, before we get into today's video, guys, we are now officially 22 subs away from 200. Guys, we're getting there. We are getting there. We are drawing closer and closer to the goal of 200. It's going to be an insane video once we reach 200 subs, because the moment we do get to 200 subs, I will open up this Korean Strike of Neos booster box in its entirety on the channel, on the hopes of potentially pull this guy, Elemental Hero Air Neos, the so-called forbidden Yu-Gi-Oh card. Is it really forbidden? I'll let you be the judge of that. If this channel gets to 500 subs, I will open up this Korean LOB booster box in its entirety on the channel that I got from my partners over at Collector Store. So be sure to check them out. Link and address will be in the description below. By checking them out, not only does it support them, it also supports the channel, and I would greatly appreciate it. On the hopes to potentially pull a Blue Eyes White Dragon, a Dark Magician, a Red Eyes Black Dragon, Pot of Greed, a piece of Exodia, Monster Reborn, the possibilities are out there. However, if this channel gets to 1,000 subs, I will open up this first edition Toon Chaos box in its entirety on the channel that I also got, from my partners over at Collector Store, on the hopes of potentially pull my second ever collector's rare, because that would not be the only collector's rare that I would have pulled. I also pulled this. This actually came out of my Genesis Impact box that I opened a while back. It is a tour guide from the underworld, and it looks gorgeous. The lighting, this part right there, there you go. You can easily tell it's a collector's rare. It is absolutely gorgeous. I am going to be getting it graded at some point. Don't really know when though, but when I get it graded, it might come back as a 10. So if you guys want to see those boxes get opened, maybe you guys want more episodes of WWE's Biggest Issue. Maybe you guys want more episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh's Biggest Issue, deck profiles, card discussions, WWE topic videos, or maybe you guys want some premium live event predictions and results. Well, if you guys want all of that and more, my channel is the place to be. So if you guys have not done so already, be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, smash that thumbs up button on this video, and be sure to follow me on all of my social media. My ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And I want you guys to post in the comments below answering the question of the day, which is this: who do you guys think should win the men's and women's Money in the Bank ladder match? And among the card as it sits, what are your guys' predictions for Money in the Bank? Because as you guys can tell by the title of the video, since we're on the topic of premium live event predictions, you guys see the book. That means it is time for some premium live event predictions in the form of Money in the Bank. Now, this is actually the first time ever that Money in the Bank will be hosted by the O2 Arena in London, which is going to be a historic night this coming Saturday. And honestly, looking at this card, I'm gonna be honest, this might go down in history as probably, if I can find my eraser, here it is. Probably one of the greatest, like, MITB premium live events ever. Like, I would probably put this in the category of possibly 2011 Money in the Bank, and you guys know exactly what I'm talking about, because Money in the Bank 2011 was pretty historic on its own. But I gotta admit, this is actually gonna be interesting because think about this: we have 1, 2, 3 titles defended. We have 3 titles defended. We have a traditional one-on-one match. We've got the men's and women's Money in the Bank ladder matches, and we have what could very may will be one of the most anticipated matches in WWE history of the modern era, which we will get to later on in the video. So hopefully you guys are ready. And again, comment below, answering the question of the day: who should win the men's and women's Money in the Bank ladder matches, and what are your guys' predictions for Money in the Bank itself? Let me know in the comments, and let's kick things off with a match that was actually just announced this past Monday on Raw, between the Intercontinental Champion Gunther defending his title against Matt Riddle. Now obviously we know that both Riddle and Gunther have battled against each other so many times over the years, not just in NXT, but even also outside of WWE, you know, on the independent scene, all over the world, whether it was Evolve, whether it was WXW, Progress, it didn't matter. These two have battled so many times over the years, and all this is just another chapter in that rivalry that again goes back several years, and we know how much prestige the Intercontinental title has. We know how much prestige it has because of the fact that more than at least 24 WWE Hall of Famers have held that title. Guys like Pat Patterson, guys like Tito Santana, guys like Macho Man Randy Savage, the Ultimate Warrior, the Honky Tonk Man, Roddy Piper, Bret Hart, Owen Hart, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall. Who else can I think of? Rob Van Dam, William Regal, Chris Jericho, Chyna, The Rock, Stone Cold. The Big Show. To now, to today's WWE with guys like Seth freaking Rollins and Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns and Finn Balor and as well as Ricochet, Shinsuke Nakamura, both of which are going to be competing in the men's Money in the Bank ladder match later on. At the premium live event. It has a lot of prestige, and I think what Matt Riddle wants to do, aside from take the title away from Gunther, is he wants to set the bar high. He wants to set the bar to an extent where he wants to defend the title no matter where he's at, even if it was inside an empty arena. He wants to defend that title. But when you think about it, Gunther has done the exact same thing. This entire year, this whole calendar year, he has dominated WWE as Intercontinental Champion, whether he was on SmackDown or whether he was on Raw. He has been in a grand total of 11 Intercontinental title matches. This would make it his 12th. This would make it his 12th Intercontinental Championship defense. And it all comes down to what? It all comes down to the big X factor. The big X factor is the rest of Imperium, because as of right now, because for all we know, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, because both KO and Sami have helped Matt Riddle on numerous occasions, but Riddle has also helped KO and Sami as well. We might see KO and Sami back up Matt Riddle in an attempt for him to become Intercontinental Champion, to which both KO and Sami have held that title as well. So again, it comes down to who's excuse me, it all comes down to who's gonna make a mistake. Is it gonna be Gunther or is it gonna be Matt Riddle? Gunther, it's very rare you will ever see Gunther make a mistake. That's one of the big reasons why he's known as the Ring General, is because of that reason, because it's a rare occurrence you would see him make a mistake. But when he does make a mistake, oftentimes you'll see him bounce back and still come out with that W. But for the most, again, as a rare occurrence, he makes a mistake, he loses everything. With Matt Riddle, it's the exact same thing, but it's more 50-50 rather than 80-20. If that makes sense, because with Gunther, he's 80-20. 80% of the time when he makes mistakes, he bounces back and ends up picking up the victory. 20%, he fucks up big time. With Riddle, it's 50-50. It's either he makes a mistake and he wins, or he makes a mistake and fucks up and loses. So it comes down to who wants it more. And I think honestly, judging by the fact that Gunther is wanting to break the Honky Tonk Man's record as Intercontinental Champion, I'm putting my money on the Ring General, because for one, think about this. Gunther started his WWE career on NXT UK. Notice the phrase, the two letters, UK, the United Kingdom, England. He made his debut at NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool back in 2019. And then just a few short months later, he's automatically the NXT UK champion. Think about that, guys. Think about that. It's wild. It is absolutely wild. So, I'm putting my money on the Ring General. I think Gunther is going to pick up that victory. But speaking of wanting to pick up victories, we move on to the now undisputed WWE Women's Tag Team titles between the champions Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey against the duo that never lost the titles in the form of Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Now, Liv Morgan was taken out with a minor shoulder injury about a month ago or so, and they had to give up said women's tag team titles. Baszler and Rousey ended up taking the titles, and what was it, last week on SmackDown? They defeated Isla Dawn and Alba Fire to unify both the NXT and the WWE Women's Tag Team titles, which from what I'm understanding, and from what I saw on Raw this past Monday and from SmackDown last week, supposedly now Baszler and Rousey will be allowed to go to all three brands and defend the women's tag team title. So if they wanted to, they could go to Money in the Bank this coming Saturday, defend the titles, win the match, and then go to NXT Great American Bash in Texas and defend the titles against whoever. So I mean, I think that's the general idea. I don't know what they're gonna. I don't know if they're gonna retire the NXT Women's Tag Team titles. I'm gonna have to take a look on WWE.com, because I truly believe that the NXT Women's Tag titles are actually retired. So I'm gonna have to take a look. Give me while that's loading. So in my honest opinion, I think. In my honest opinion, I think. This might be a bit of a mismatch, and the reason, and I say that because when you think about it, all right, let me scroll down here. Let me scroll. When you think about it, the champions we have now across Raw, SmackDown, and NXT is basically an all-star. It is literally an all-star lineup. You've got Roman Reigns, the undisputed Universal Champion. You've got Seth freaking Rollins, the World Heavyweight Champion. Asuka, the WWE Women's Champion. Rhea Ripley, the Women's World Champion. Gunther, the Intercontinental Champion, who we just talked about just a moment ago. Austin Theory, the United States Champion. KO and Sammy, the undisputed Tag Team Champions. Baszler and Rousey, the undisputed Women's Tag Team Champions. Carmelo Hayes, the NXT Champion. Tiffany Stratton, the NXT Women's Champion. Wesley, the North American Champion. Gallus, the NXT Tag Team Champions. Nathan Fraser, the NXT Heritage Cup Champion. Think about that. That right there is an all-star lineup. It's an all-star of champions. And so, okay, so I am looking at WWE.com here on my laptop, looking at the Hall of Championships, and when I scroll to NXT with the women's tag team titles, yes, I can confirm that the NXT women's tag team titles are now officially retired, and they came into WWE because of the fact that Shayna Baszler and I think Nia Jax at that time were the women's tag team champions, and they went up against Raquel Rodriguez and Dakota Kai, if I remember correctly, and WWE official Adam Pearce actually screwed Raquel and Kai out of the titles. So NXT general manager at that time, William Regal, actually awarded Raquel and Kai the NXT Women's Tag Team titles. So it's kind of interesting when you really think about it, because you look at the teams that held the titles, right? It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy because you look at who became tag team champions. You've got Dakota Kai and Raquel Rodriguez, or I guess back then Raquel Gonzalez, Ember Moon and Shotzi, The Way, which was Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell, Io Shirai and Zoe Stark, Toxic Attraction, Raquel, again going back to Raquel and Dakota Kai. Toxic Attraction regained the titles. Not that long. Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez. Roxanne Perez ended up holding on to the titles alone because of, obviously, the heel turn. Then they gave up the titles. Then she gave up the titles to then Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. Then we have Fallon Henley and Kiana James and the team of Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Think about that, guys. So we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tag teams win the women's tag team titles. Think about that. So now we have this match. The undisputed women's tag team titles being defended. I'm gonna be honest here. Do not get it twisted. I'm a big fan of Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, and I truly believe that they will regain those tag team titles at some point. But there's no way in hell that they're gonna win. As big of a fan as I am of both Liv and Raquel, my money is on Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey. The submission game, the submission prowess that they have, mixed in with the speed of Ronda Rousey and the power of Shayna Baszler, those three right there, it's insane. It is insanely powerful. It is literally as powerful as a Kashtira deck, as a Yu-Gi-Oh! Kashtira deck mixed in with a runic package, which I did do a Kashtira Runic deck profile this past Saturday, actually, so if you guys want to check that out, you guys definitely should. It's a pretty nasty deck, I can guarantee you that right now. It's pretty nasty, but again, my money is on Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey. And speaking of tag teams, woo-hoo-hoo-hoo, guys, we are going to have ourselves quite the battle on our hands in the form of the Bloodline Civil War between Roman Reigns and Solo and the Usos. This is going to be a nasty one. And this whole thing actually goes back 3 years. Think about that. Shoutouts to Arby's. My family and I had Arby's yesterday, and that's Mountain Dew. By the way, we have Mountain Dew here at home. Not sponsored by Arby's anyway, or Mountain Dew. But seriously, Mountain Dew, maybe, who knows? Anyway, Roman became the Universal Champion at Payback 1 week after SummerSlam when he came back to WWE. And think of the men that Roman Reigns has defeated over the years. Guys like Kevin Owens, guys like Jey Uso, Edge, Seth freaking Rollins, John Cena, Brock Lesnar, Logan Paul, Cody Rhodes. There's a long list of people, and Jey Uso had won a fatal 4-way where the winner would face Roman at Clash of Champions for said Universal title. Jimmy Uso was out with a knee injury, and then again, the rest is pretty much history. We've seen the last 3 years. We've seen how dangerous the bloodline has been. I mean, think about this, right? The bloodline started with just Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman. It started with just the two of them. Jey Uso came into the fold after he uttered the words "I quit" inside Hell in a Cell. He ended up becoming the right-hand man. Jimmy Uso comes back. He's now officially in the fold. Boom. The Usos are now 7-time tag team champions. Absolutely insane. They ended up becoming the longest reigning tag team champions of the modern era in WWE, breaking the New Day's record, and if I remember correctly, 621 days. Yeah, 621 days as tag team champions, and they ended up and they lost the titles to KO and Sami at WrestleMania. Then speaking of Sami Zayn, Sami Zayn is now officially in the fold, and then we enter Solo Sikoa. He debuts on the main roster at Clash of the Castle in Cardiff last September, and they all enter War Games. The Bloodline wins War Games, and that was where the mindset of Roman Reigns started to just explode. The cracks of Roman's mental game kind of just seeped in over time, and then KO, both Roman and KO had a match this past January at the Royal Rumble. Sami Zayn turns on Roman and the Bloodline, and the rest is history. And everything kind of exploded right after WrestleMania, because when WrestleMania came to a close, Roman was still champion. The Usos were not, and Roman knew that the Usos had lost the titles, and he was pissed off about it. So he thought, you know what? Maybe me and Solo will try and bring those titles back home to the Bloodline. The Usos tried to help out at Night of Champions, but it did not work out so well, which then brings us to this. I'm gonna be honest, this is probably arguably one of the greatest stories we have had in WWE ever. Like, ever. I have never, in all the years that I've watched WWE, I think I speak for myself and for you guys who have seen this story progress over the last 3 years when I say that this might be the greatest story ever told. In terms of how deep this went. In terms of how personal this got, especially when Sami Zayn joined the bloodline, this might be the greatest ever. And here's the thing, Roman and Solo, they've only tagged maybe once or twice. The Usos have been together since day one. Think about that. Think about that. From the time they were born to their debut in WWE over a decade ago, up until now, they have been together forever, and I don't think that's ever going to change. So it comes down to how's this going to play out? How exactly, or I guess rather, who is going to come out on top? Personally, I think it's going to be the Usos, and the reason why I say that, excuse me, is because even though Roman Reigns and Solo are now technically a tag team, there's no way in hell that those two are going to be able to coexist, because you guys saw it. You guys saw it yourself the last several weeks, the last month. Roman Reigns and Solo, we saw Roman Reigns literally hit Solo's shoulder with his own, like as if Roman was pushed Solo. We've seen that before, and the question becomes, can Roman and Solo coexist? They can, but there's no way in hell that they'll be able to combat against a team so dangerous and so cunning, if you will, like the Usos. So if I was a betting man, I would put my money on the Usos. But you can never. But I don't think you'll be able to ever count out Roman Reigns, because Roman will do whatever it takes to win. But the Usos, my money's on. If I was a betting man, I would pick the Usos. And speaking of Roman Reigns, we move on into the World Heavyweight Championship between the champion Seth freaking Rollins and Finn Balor of the Judgment Day. And here's the funny thing. This rivalry goes back 7 years. Think about that. And what's even more hilarious is that I actually did predictions for SummerSlam. And think about what was on that card for SummerSlam in 2016. Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton. Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor for the Universal title. Dean Ambrose versus Dolph Ziggler for the WWE title. Sasha Banks and Charlotte for the Raw Women's title. Miz and Apollo Crews for the Intercontinental title. AJ Styles and John Cena. The New Day versus the OC for the Raw Tag Team titles. Enzo Amore and Big Cass against Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho. Rusev and Roman Reigns for the United States title. Cesaro and Sheamus in a best of 7 in the best of 7 series that they had. Becky Lynch, Naomi and Carmella against Natalya, Eva Marie, and Alexa Bliss. Think about that. And if I remember correctly, I believe Nikki Bella actually replaced. Yeah, Nikki Bella actually replaced Eva Marie for some dumb reason. Sami Zayn against Neville. The Usos, the Hype Bros, American Alpha, against the Vaudevillains, the Ascension, and Breezango. Think about that. That right there was a hell of a card. That was a hell of a card. And now we fast forward 7 years later, and both Rollins and Balor are gonna do battle once again for for a championship. Think about that, guys. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. But this is a much more different version of both Rollins and Balor than we remember from 7 years ago. Think about that. 7 years ago, Finn Balor was, brought the Demon into the main roster. Seth Rollins was, had just recently at that time had just recently returned from a knee injury. Think about that. This is different. This is a different version of both of those men, because Balor now he's now technically like the quote unquote leader of the Judgment Day. Seth freaking Rollins is probably right now in the prime of his career, where even if he dropped the title right now, he could still retire and get inducted into the Hall of Fame next year for all we know. That is right there. Insane. Absolutely insane. But again, it comes down to who wants him more. Obviously we know that Seth Rollins wants to defeat Finn Balor so he could tie the rivalry at 1 apiece. But Finn Balor wants to right the wrongs of the past. And what I mean by that is the very next night on Raw, Balor had to give up the Universal title because of his shoulder injury, and he blames Rollins for that. Obviously, yes, I will give Finn Balor that. Okay, I will give Finn Balor that. Rollins did hit Balor with a buckle bomb onto the barricade, which popped his shoulder. I will give him that. Give him that. But the fact that Balor blames Rollins for taking everything away from Balor, including his career, that's a bit of an overkill if you ask me, in my honest opinion. But this version of Seth Rollins, especially as the World Heavyweight Champion, Balor has no chance. I'm putting my money on Rollins for the simple fact that if Rollins wants to end this rivalry, he needs to defeat Finn Balor, tie up the score, and potentially at SummerSlam or whatever, they get one more battle, and Rollins wins it. Rivalry's done. Plain and simple. So, my money, Seth freaking Rollins. Now we move on into a one-on-one match that is, I don't know. I don't know. This is a bit of an odd one. We've got Cody Rhodes, and since we're on the topic of the Judgment Day, Dominic Mysterio. I'm gonna be honest. Okay? I'm gonna be super honest. Dominic Mysterio, in my opinion, when it comes to his in-ring style, he's gotten better. I'll get him. I will give him that. He's gotten a little better, but not better to the extent of a level of like Damian Priest or a Seth freaking Rollins, if you will. He's not on that level as of yet in terms of his in-ring style. He's not on that level, but he has gotten better. His mic skills are starting to get better, but the funny thing is that the heat that he has gotten since Clash of the Castle in Cardiff, it is amazing to see how hated Dom is from within the WWE universe. Think about that, guys. It is amazing. I will give Dom that. But think about this. Dominic Mysterio is facing off against a former Intercontinental Champion. He is facing a former Tag Team Champion, a Royal Rumble winner, a WrestleMania main eventer. Cody Rhodes right now is like at the top. He's like right now right now he's like Seth freaking Rollins in the prime of his career. It's absolutely amazing. Yes, it's true that Cody did lose at WrestleMania, and yeah, he did lose at Night of Champions, but every single one of his premium live event, matches, with the exception of WrestleMania and Night of Champions, those are, aside from those two, all of his other premium live event matches, he's won against Cody Rhodes, against Brock Lesnar at Backlash in San Juan, Puerto Rico. You know, the men's Royal Rumble match. Think about that. He's had a hell of a career in WWE since coming back at last year's WrestleMania in Dallas. And this time, I don't think it's going to be any different, but we all know that Dom's mommy, Rhea Ripley, is going to get involved in some way, shape, or form. So Cody Rhodes needs to find a way to combat against that, and the only person that could pull it off is his wife Brandy, who was once a part of WWE as Eden Styles and as a ring announcer. Think about that, guys. It's pretty crazy. But again, there's no way in hell Dom is gonna win. Even if he did, it would just be pure dumb luck, in my honest opinion. So my money is on Cody Rhodes, plain and simple. But we now move on into the men's and the women's Money in the Bank ladder matches. The rules are simple. No countouts, no disqualification, no pins, no submissions. Only way to win: climb the ladder, grab the briefcase, and you're good to go. They've now made it a rule with the men's briefcase. You can now cash it in on any champion you want. You can cash in on Roman Reigns. You can cash in on Seth freaking Rollins, Gunther, Austin Theory. Hell, if you wanted to, you can even cash in on Carmelo Hayes, or even Wesley, or even Nathan Frazer, for all we know. So that means there are 2, 4, 7. There are 7 champions that you could choose from. And for the women, you could cash in on Asuka, you could cash in on Rhea Ripley, or if you wanted to, you could cash in on Tiffany Stratton if you wanted to. And the combatants is basically an all-star lineup, like an all-star of talent who have never been in, or I'd rather have never been in this type of match before, or who have but never won the Money in the Bank briefcase. So on the men's side, you've got Ricochet, you've got Shinsuke Nakamura, you've got LA Knight, you've got Santos Escobar of the LWO, you've got Butch of the Brawling Brutes, Damian Priest of the Judgment Day. And originally it was supposed to have been those 6, but now we got Logan Paul in the mix, and he's gonna be the ultimate X Factor, because there's no telling what he's gonna do. I mean, we saw him, hit the Miz, Seth freaking Rollins, and Roman Reigns with a splash onto the announce table from the top rope. Think about that, guys. Think about that. That's insane. On the women's side, you've got Zelina Vega of the LWO, Becky Lynch, Zoe Stark, Bayley, who is a former Money in the Bank winner, Io Sky, and Trish Stratus, a Hall of Famer. Think about that. Bayley's the only one who's won Money in the Bank, and she actually cashed it in on the same night, which is insane. This is interesting though, because there are so many different combustible elements within both of these matches. You've got you've got Ricochet and Nakamura fighting over who's gonna be the one to defeat Bronson Reed. You've got LA Knight who who will pick a fight pick a fight with pretty much almost anyone who's in the match. You've got Santos Escobar who I guess in a way has been in sort of a rivalry of sorts with LA Knight of sorts. You've got Butch who will just punch anybody in the face. Damian Priest, he's like, I ain't saying nothing. I'm just here to win. And then you got Logan Paul, who many people believe believe he doesn't deserve to win the Money in the Bank ladder match. And then on the women's side, you've got Becky Lynch, who was once in a rivalry with Damage Control, Bayley and Io Sky. She's now in a rivalry with both Zoe Stark and Trish Stratus and Zelina Vega. Apparently, every single woman in this match, with the exception of Becky Lynch, is underestimating Zelina Vega, and they all believe that she's not cut to win Money in the Bank, nor is she cut to compete in said Money in the Bank ladder match. But let's not forget, Zelina Vega has been in like what, 1-2 Money in the Bank ladder matches. This would make it, I believe, her third Money in the Bank ladder match consecutively, if I remember correctly. I want to go back. Let's see. 2022. Let's see. Money in the Bank. Let's see. Nope. I want to say 2021. Let's go 2021. 2021. Let's see. Yes. Okay. So this would make it, I believe, her second Money in the Bank ladder match, if I remember correctly. Because I know that she didn't compete in the 2020 ladder match. No, she didn't compete in that one, did she? Yeah, no. No. I believe this will make her second appearance in the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. So there's a lot of combustible elements, and I think for the men's side, the odds-on favorite definitely has to be both LA Knight and Logan Paul, and I say Logan Paul because he's no stranger to London, England. He's no stranger to the UK because he actually boxed. I believe he boxed Floyd Money Mayweather and KSI in London. So he's no stranger to London. But LA Knight, he's become so much of a fan favorite, it's absolutely insane. And as far as the women's side goes, the two odds-on favorites definitely are going to be Zelina Vega and Becky Lynch, with Trish Stratus as the dark horse, as the dark horse of the whole match. So, who do I think is gonna win? Personally, I want to say someone like Shinsuke Nakamura or Santos Escobar, but I'm putting my money on Butch because he's actually from Birmingham, England, which is actually not that far from where they'll be in London. So on the men's side, my money's on Butch. Women's side, it has to be Becky Lynch. She needs to win that briefcase to set the bar pretty damn high. So guys, that's gonna do it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more premium live event predictions and results in the future, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and follow me on all of my social media. My ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.